Alrighty, hello everyone. My name is Olalade Carter. I'm one of the career specialists, career services specialists here at We Can Code It. So today we are going to be finishing out our LinkedIn series, and we're going to be rounding this up with networking. So I hope everyone can see my screen. You should be able to. But networking, it might sound like a scary or daunting task, but it can lead to the biggest advantage in your guys' career search. So, and that's a referral from a current employee. So, a referral, which is what you garner when you network, it's the quickest, excuse me, and most efficient way to move your resume to the top of the pile. So, even though you guys just started the cohort, you're still in the beginning, and you may not feel ready to begin this process today, I would advise that you consider doing some networking sooner rather than later, because then you can start to reap the rewards of networking sooner rather than later. So let's look at some statistics when it comes to networking. So 76% of people agree that knowing the right person is the key to getting ahead of life. But the reality is that only about 22% of people are actively looking for networking and mentorship opportunities. So it's like, everyone knows it's who you know, but we're seeing that not a lot of people are actually taking advantage of who they know. Let's look at more stats. So we see here from this chart that referrals, they are the biggest advantage. So here on the chart, it's the different ways that you can get a job. So employee referrals, you can get one by going through career sites like career sites. You can get one from job boards, agencies as recruiting firms, and then other ways. And the dark blue just shows you who was hired. And then the light blue is applications that are put in based on these different ways. So we see that not a lot of applications come in through employee referrals, but based on the dark blue, we see that a lot of people get hired more than any other way. It is through employee referrals. We see that a lot of applications go in through the job boards and on career sites, but not a lot of hiring happens from just career sites and job boards. Same thing with agencies, same thing with the other category. So overall, this statistic in this chart to just sum up that referrals really do give us the biggest advantage when it comes to searching for a job. Um, so that leads us to how are we going to get a referral? An important hiring fact that hiring managers and recruiters know is people who are referred to a job are much more likely to be not only hired, but to stay at that job longer. And you might be wondering why we're talking about this topic of referrals and networking now, because the reality is that networking and creating meaningful connections based off of your network, that's going to take time. And if you wait until the end of the boot camp, you're going to likely prolong your job search. And we don't want that. So we're going to spend the next bit of time reviewing 6 different ways that we can utilize LinkedIn specifically to network and gain referrals. And remember, it's a lengthy process, but you have to earn your referral. And to earn it, you have to spend time developing and cultivating relationships. And that's only going to be through networking. Alrighty. And before we get started, so we're going to talk about the different levels of degree connections that LinkedIn has. So first degree connections that you'll see on LinkedIn, those are users you're connected with. So that's probably somebody you met at either your job, volunteer experience, school, and you were like, let's connect on LinkedIn, and then you do. Those are your first degree connections, people you like actually know. Second degree connections on LinkedIn, that's just users you aren't connected with, but you have a mutual connection. And that mutual connection is your first degree connection. So the person that you connected with in person and then through LinkedIn also has the same friend that you would try to make through a second degree connection. You have a mutual connection. And then third degree connections on LinkedIn, those are users you're not connected with, but someone in your second degree network is connected with them. So those are friends of a friends of a friend. It's kind of like that idea. So I just wanted to break that down and describe that before we get into our next part. So let's talk about the different ways that we can leverage LinkedIn to network. Our first option is to get a first degree referral. And we're going to start this process of networking. A first degree referral, it's the absolute easiest route. It's who do you already know at maybe a target company that you're trying to work at, and who do you already know that's in your immediate connection. So first degree connections, like we said before, these are people you already know and you know them well. So let's take a look. I want to show you guys how to find these first degree connections on the actual website of LinkedIn. So let's switch gears to LinkedIn. And there's two different ways that you can use your first degree connections or find first degree connections on LinkedIn. So the first way is, let's say you're researching, let's say you have number one company that you want to work at. Let's say that's Accenture. Accenture is a consulting firm that do IT consulting and other types of consulting, but mostly IT. So I'm going to use Accenture as, let's say, the dream company here. And I want to figure out who are my first degree connections that work at my dream job, Accenture. So what you would do is you would type into the search button on your landing page, you type in Accenture, click on the company, and it brings you to the company's LinkedIn site. From there, you'll see this ribbon that has different buttons you can press. You want to go to people. Once you hit people, you will see that there's so many people that are associated here, but then you want to scroll all the way over to the part that says, how are you connected? And it says first, second, and third. And you guessed it, you click the first degree filter. These are filters that you can add. And you get to see your first degree connections, the people that you know who are working at your dream company. And that's Brandon here. And from there, I will, message him, or if you don't, well, it'll never say connect because you're already connected to them. It'll say message in the case of the first degree. So you'll message him and be like, hey, Brandon, I see that you're working at Accenture as a user experience engineer. I'm just really interested in this role or in this company, and I wanted to reach out and see how you're doing. Something like that. That's how you can network. So that's the first way you can leverage and utilize your first degree connection. The second way is, instead of having a target company, let's say you don't have any companies that you want to target specifically, you can go to your profile, click your profile, go there. Underneath your name, it tells you how many connections you have. And then it brings up all of your connections, and you can hit search with filter. And that will give you different options and different ways that you can search or filter your connections. And you guessed it, there will be a box, and it'll look like this. Let me unclick that. Give me a second. So there'll be a button at the top that'll say connections. You click on it, and it'll give you different ways to filter out your connections that you already have, first, second, and third. You can click on that, and it'll show you your results. 496 results, well, of all your first level connections, all the people that you know. And that's if you don't have, you can use this way if you don't have a specific company that you're trying to target. But once you've identified either the company you want to work at or the different people you want to target, reach out to them. Click the message button. Don't overthink this step because you guys already know these people. You've met them in person, you've connected, and you're not asking them for anything bad. Worst case, they'll say no. Best case scenario, they'll either review your resumes, they'll refer you to the job, and even garnish a referral bonus for themselves. So those are all best case scenarios. And also, guys, it's not a big deal if they don't respond. But if they do respond, this is where don't be surprised if they want to chat with you about the position or to gain a little bit more of understanding of your experience. And they may even want to help you prep for the interview and give you insider knowledge. So when you hit that message button and you start connecting and reaching out to your first degree connections, you have to be ready to talk to them, start that conversation, and get the process going. So that's first degree connections on LinkedIn in a nutshell. Our second option on LinkedIn to garner referrals is through second degree referral. So don't worry if you can't nail down a first degree referral. It's not a big deal. We still have our second degree network on LinkedIn that we can leverage. So remember, the secondary connection is essentially a friend of a friend. And I don't have time to dive into the math today, but your second degree network is actually massive because it's all the friends of your friends. So there's a few more steps to this process, but it's pretty similar to the first degree connection. You're going to find the individuals the same way. So instead of clicking first, you'd click second and show results. And remember, my first degree connections were like what, 496 or 469? My second degree connection results are 649,000. These are all the friends of a friends. So what you could do here and what you want to do here with your secondary connection is you want to be targeted and you want to be purposeful. Can you identify the people who want to help? Ideally, this is a person who's connected with your mutual connection and your mutual connection knows them well and knows you well and is excited to support you. It's also strategic that your second degree connection is someone who maybe has seniority at the company you're trying to get in, or seniority in the level or the type of position and role that you want to have. Also, with the second degree connections, it's really important that you ask them, you ask your mutual connection. So you ask your first degree connection, can you give me an intro with this person that I want to connect with? And it seems that you have a connection with. Because, and that right there, that phenomenon right there is social proof. And you want to use it to your advantage. So social proof is just a tendency of people, people trust people or things when it comes recommended by a friend. So you want to make it easy for your second degree connection and your first degree connection. And let's look at this example on this next slide on how to convert an intro from your first degree connection into a referral. So take a second, read what's on this little blurb, these blurbs here on the screen. All right, sweet. So the first thing you have to do when your first degree connection refers you or intros you to a second degree connection is you want to set up a chat and you want to ask the right questions. And those questions could be something like, all right, how did you make the decision to join this company? What do you love about this company? What do you dislike? If you could, would you make the decision to join this company again? And if you like what you hear from the second degree connection from that person and the timing feels right, you could use one of the prompts on the screen to kind of make that transition. So the prompt on the screen has to be tailored to your conversation. So it shows that one, you were listening and you're actually into learning. And if you use these prompts, as a nice transition, it can shift the relationship with that second degree connection into something that feels a little bit like a mentoring role. And it's also a last question that you could use that might naturally bring up that person's referral program. And if they don't have any follow-up questions or if they don't have a referral question, you can still use this last prompt here to switch the conversation over into, all right, can I gain a referral from you personally? So this is how to convert an intro from someone. It doesn't even just have to be on LinkedIn. I know we're talking about LinkedIn and using it to network and build connections, but you can also use a prompt like this and the questions that I used or that I just talked about, like, do you love the company? What do you love about it? What do you dislike? How did you make the decision? You can use those types of things outside of LinkedIn. This is just for networking in general. So that's how to convert an intro with someone into a referral. Alrighty, option 3 is applying the school filter, and I showed you guys how to do this with the alumni tool last week. So that's where you would go to We Can Code It school page on LinkedIn. My computer will load. And there on this ribbon right here, you'll see alumni. And if you scroll down, these are all the alumni that went to LinkedIn, that went to We Can Code It. You can identify the perfect alumni. You can see their headlines from here: full stack Java developer, web developer, junior full stack software developer, JavaScript. Some people's headlines will say where they're working. Like Bylene here is working at, she's an app developer at Accenture. So you can identify the right person, connect with them, send a message, and go from there. So option 3 is to get a referral from an alumni. Let's go back to the slide. Your fourth option here is to get a referral from a former colleague. So by now, you guys hopefully recognize your own network on LinkedIn, and you can see that networking and landing a referral is all about commonality. What do you share with the people on the inside? What do you share with the person who has the role that you want to get? So what you can do here is you can go to the company that you want to work with. Oh, wait, no, you don't want to do it this way. So you can go back to your page, go back to your profile, go to your connections, search with filter section. You want to unclick the connections filter, and then you want to go to the current company filter. And this is where you could type in your past company. Let's say XPO, past company I used to work at. You can show results, and it'll show you all the different people that you have worked with previously at a company. And you can select the ones where you've worked with. And remember, this is only going to produce people with whom you share the same former employer, not who you necessarily worked with. But that's a way that you can kind of garner a referral. You could be like, hey, I see that we both used to work at, XPO. I'm trying to get back. I've switched industries recently. I wanted to see if you have a second to talk, and maybe we could talk about this new industry, and if you can help me learn more about how to become a software developer at XPO, or learn more about how to become a front-end developer, full stack developer at XPO. So option 4 is just getting a referral from a former colleague or for somebody who you guys used to work at the same company. The fourth way that you can, no, I'm sorry. The fifth way that you can get a referral is from a volunteer experience. We all have unique backgrounds and experiences, and sometimes we can get like tunnel vision when we're trying to identify commonalities. So my advice to you guys is to think big, think outside of the box. Some of you guys have places that you volunteer, or different groups, like maybe you have D&D groups or gaming, bowling, different groups that you work with. When it comes to networking, you have to think outside of the box. You have to think big. Networking is just community, and everyone has their own personal community that we can tap into. So let's say you work at, or you volunteer at Habitat for Humanity, and your friend Allie volunteers too. You could be like, Allie, hey, well, hi, I'm a fellow Habitat for Humanity volunteer. I found your profile. I was impressed with it. I see that you've done amazing things. I'd love to learn about your experience as being a developer at Disney. I'm also considering applying for a role at Disney in development. Yeah, and with that being said, I'd love to pick your brain. If you have 10 minutes in the next week or two, thanks for considering. It's just as simple as that. You have the commonality of you both volunteer at Habitat for Humanity, and she's also working at maybe a dream job that you have, or she has a job that you want as a Java developer or software developer, and you can reach out that way. So your fifth option on gaining a referral is just volunteer experiences or the different groups that you might be a part of. Think big. And then the sixth option is anyone really. So you can go to your dream company on LinkedIn. You can pull up their directory. You could check out their headlines, just like I showed you with Accenture. We'll go back there. Let's say this is your dream company. You click Accenture, you can go to people, and instead of applying a filter, you could just literally go through the list of people that work here and try to connect with them. And you could reach out to them, see what they're doing. Like I said, it'll have their headlines on what they're doing. This is a software engineer manager, so John might be a good person to reach out to and connect with because he's a manager, so he could have some leverage there. Different things like that. So really, your sixth option when it comes to networking is anyone. And a cool thing that you can do is once you go and you're on the company site, you're looking through the people, you've decided and you picked on someone you want to reach out to, click on their website or click on their page. And this is like it's like a professional wink when you're on their page because LinkedIn has this special thing where it tells you who, if you have premium on LinkedIn, it tells you who looked at your web page. So let's say John has premium. He saw that I looked at his web page. Then he's like, I wonder who this is. And he goes to my LinkedIn profile and sees that, and he checks me out. That's like him winking back to you. So you could send a message and it could be something like, "Hey John, I noticed that we checked out each other's profile this week. I know your time must be tight, but I would love if you're ever up for it to have a quick conversation about your experience as a software engineer at Accenture. I'd love to learn from your decisions and how you've made an impressive career there." Just a quick reach out like that, something like that, is networking with anyone. Is a way that you can network with anyone. So we like here at We Can Code It, we have a networking roadmap that we have. And the first part of it is doing your research. Try to find 25 to 40 tech companies and across the different industries like health, finance, accounting, anything. There's different, like literally every industry that you could think of has an IT team. So try to find 25 to 40 tech companies across the different industries and do your research. Find out what their mission is. What do they value? What current technologies are they working on or working with, or what's the current project that they're trying to conquer? So do your research. And then you want to prepare based on your research. You want to start crafting your LinkedIn reach out messages based off of the technology, the values, the missions, things like that, what you found out about them. You also want to start identifying people that you want to reach out to and connect with on LinkedIn. And then from there, once you've connected with them, you can ask for an informational interview. An informational interview is just a conversation with the person where you're seeking insight on their career path, the industry that they're in, the company that they're working for, or even just general career advice with someone that has that experience and knowledge in the area that you're interested in. So, and then when it comes to informational interviews, you want to prepare and practice. Make sure you show up to those informational interviews with 2 to 3 meaningful questions for that contact. You want to show them that you've reviewed the company, you've done your research, and that you've actually taken the time because what that communicates to this person is, I know you took time out of your busy schedule because everybody's busy nowadays. You took that time out to sit down with me and answer my questions. I want to show you that I'm serious. And then you also just want to stay engaged once you've garnered, what's it called? An informational interview. You want to take notes about that interview and you want to be sure to send a follow-up thank you note, and things like that. So that's kind of our networking roadmap that we have. And then this is just some funny memes a slide that I put on. I find them funny. But that is all that I had for networking and LinkedIn. I encourage you guys to take the time now, finish up what we started working on last week with optimizing your LinkedIn profile page. Make sure you have your everything set up there. And then once you've really set up your LinkedIn profile, start networking. Start using the tips and the 6 ways that I showed you guys. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Amani or myself. Alrighty. Thank you guys.